Hi friends, this is Wayne over at the Ram Man. Here it is, Christmas Eve, Tuesday, 12/24, 2019. I was thinking about it the other day. My new friend Todd, he's talked about how he's on the computer all the time doing tuning programs and all kinds of stuff for fun. And for fun, Wayne reads technical manuals. Yeah, kind of weird. Hey, let's talk about extreme axles, off-road 4x4s, and yada yada yada. Christmas time's always been special. I've been able to bring a lot of parts to market right around Christmas Eve. Mopar Tandem Bendix Booster, Christmas Eve 2012, changed the Mopar world. Hemi Master Cylinder. And now we have Planetaries. What are Planetaries? Well, Planetaries, off-road dudes talk about them. Every off-road, hardcore off-road dude I know would give his old lady away, girlfriend, wife, whatever, to have some Planetary axles if he's hardcore. Of course, they've always been reserved. Planetary axles, by definition, are designed to carry and support extremely heavy loads, and so they're really tough. Now, for example, what do we got right here? We got us a military Planetary out of like an Axle Tech. Here's our big old stub shaft coming out, comes up to the spindle, hooks on right here, and this rotates and rotates these bevel gears. This is unique, this design. It's one of the most prevalent that there is. Volvo are the ones that invented this bevel design, which is a little cheaper. Typically you got the bevel design, you got your helical gear design. You know, when you have a Planetary, you gotta have three parts. You got the sun gear, you got the carrier assembly with the planets, and you've got the ring gear. Now, Planetaries are extremely unique gizmo. And actually, that's the street term, Planetaries. They're actually epicyclic drives. This is a little booklet on the Volvo type system, as you can see right there. Now, in general, what do Planetary axle ends do? Here's what it does. Instead of just relying on the splines, we transfer the load to the sun gear, to the ring gear, to the planets, or to the bevel drive, or what have you. Planet out of a V8 Mustang. Where did Planetaries come from? Well, really, there's only the two major places is really heavy axles. Heavy axles and extremely precise gear drives for machines, there's three, and automatic transmission. Most people don't know it, but for every 2 speeds in an automatic transmission, you need to have you a Planetary. Jumping back. So what a Planetary drive does, or wheel ends, epicyclic drive, is because they're on the wheel ends, Planetaries reduce the load by at least 50%. It depends on how many pinion you got and all this, but this hillbilly talk is good enough for South Carolina. Planetaries reduce the load on the entire drivetrain from the wheel end to the axle to the pumpkin to the drive shaft, through the transmission, through the transfer case, all the way to the crankshaft. A planetary wheel end reduces the load on the entire drive system all the way to the source. Bolts, U-joints, clutches, it don't make a fat rat's ass. That's what makes them so cool. Now, on top of that, most planetaries are designed for a gear reduction. Normally, like this bevel drive Volvo, this is a 2-to-1. Most of the transmissions, like first gear and stuff, are about 3-to-1. About 3-to-1 reduction. Now, it's hard to show this because you got to hold them. What makes a planetary special? Here you go. Well, if you turn the sun gear, it can go forward or reverse. If your input is the sun gear, you have a planetary in reduction mode. For example, I need to turn this about 3 times to this carrier 1 time. So now we've got 3-to-1 reduction. Now check this out. Here's where we really get fun. So now on a typical planetary, we've got a reduction drive at the end of the wheels. So what does that do on top of that load reduction all the way to the source? Well, of course, it's like a transmission. So now all of a sudden, you've got a planetary on the wheel end that's like reduction of 3-to-1. So if you got a 3-to-1 here, and you got a 3-to-1 in your pumpkin, loading American, high gears, you got a 6-to-1. The other things that planetaries do is the carrier gears and all that, they don't have to be as strong. And I'll give you a perfect example. If you take a Dana 60 pinion, ring and pinion, say 6:17 ratio, those gears are considerably weaker than 373s. Why is that? More teeth. The ring gear and the pinion is only so big. So now you could run 3-to-1 in your pumpkins, have super stout gears on top of everything else with the same effective overall gear reduction. Now, there's another little trick about planetary. So, we can have a reduction drive, number 1. If you hold 2 things still on a planetary, the ring gear and say the carrier, if you lock them together and leave sun gear free, you have a direct drive. A direct drive is 1-to-1. That means that we have no reduction. That means effectively that we haven't changed a damn thing on the vehicle. All we have done is we got the benefits of A. And number 3, the other really super badass thing about a Planetary, then you'll start understanding about your transmission is. If you turn the ring gear, you get overdrive. You get overdrive. Look how fast that ring gear's turning, right? So if you wanted to hook this up to a blower, she'd be spinning 3 times as fast, or whatever else you wanted to do. You make it go 3 times as fast just by doing that. Yeah. So, anyway, so theoretically, if someone wanted to, they could supply people with Planetary ends, maybe for their Dana 60 or their Dana 70, and they could be configured in 2 different designs. Number 1 would be a direct drive for somebody that's got his gearing system all situated and just wants to have the most badass, indestructible axles on the planet. Fuck all that 35 spline shit, 300 EM and 4340 and 3 times tempering to get it at 228,000 PSI tensile strength and all that old nonsense, and getting them exotic metals and boring this out, and 35 spline and 40 spline and all that old bullshit having to do with axles. When you have a Planetary ends, all of that crap is a total, no, well, it's a waste of money for most people. Not everybody, but 99%. So, what's the mission? The mission is, how in the hell do we get some Planetaries on a regular axle? Now, this shit that we're talking about right now ain't never been done before. It's never been done in the history of the world. It's never really been thought possible, but that's what Wayno does. Dana 60 type wheel end. Recognizable. Been made by the, I'm going to say, more than 10 million. Ring gear. Six pinion. Not a 4. Not a 4, but a 6. Damn, that son of a bitch drops in there. What on earth is that? That's a damn factory Dana 60 shaft. Front stub shaft. Just like this one. That sumbitch has got a damn sun gear on it. Uh-oh. Are we getting close? I think we might be. I think we might be able to figure this whole mess out. If we work real hard, I think we might get it. So, there you go, my friends. Now, you need to always put your carrier in first. That's how these are assembled, so that the gears can float a little bit. And then you can get your sun gear in. So, you lock this to that. And now You have the first planetary system that's ever been prototyped up in the history of the world that'll fit inside a factory. 60 or 70 hub. No shit. Yeah. It's the difference between Werner von Braun's V2 rocket and taking us all the way to the moon.